pods. Let's start with him. Yeah, I mean, there you go. I don't really have any words for that. When somebody gets that hot, career high 8 threes, there's really not much we can do. And it's tough because you guys have to remember they have Stephen Curry, the best shooter in the world. So if somebody else gets that hot, you got to guard, you got to pick.
Right.
I'd like to start on the Rockets. You brought up Ime, man, and we talked about it too, Pocket, when we were talking about the Coach of the Year. Yeah, they've been awesome. What's her 51 and 27? I want to say, second seed firmly. In my opinion, their performance against the Thunder answered some questions for me on what they can do. I think they caught the Thunder on a back-to-back, one and two. It's not a playoff situation, so like CJ said, we'll have to see. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Three Man Weave. I'm your lovely co-host ZD. I'm in the building today. We coming at you guys live on a Saturday. It's April 5th. I'm with the other co-host CJ. CJ, how you feeling?
Good, sir. How you doing, man?
I'm chilling, man. I was telling you, I think it's exciting because we got some playoffs coming down, pretty soon, and we've been waiting all season for this, bro. Like we were just talking about it, how it's flown by, and it's a great opportunity to see where our teams stand. And hey, man, we also play tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
We
So
sure
a
do.
lot of excitement, a lot of juice. NBA's been crazy. MVP battle's crazy. People have been just hooping, man. I think Jokic over the last 5 games averaging like 40. Obviously, you know the deal with that. The Thunder finally lost as well.
Yeah.
So you might have some things to talk about. There's a lot, bro.
Yeah.
Playoff trivia. There's a
Yep.
lot. I think this episode again, for people that have been with us, we appreciate you. We love you guys from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. But yeah, we have a good, bunch of stuff to talk about. So I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, bro. For sure.
For sure. But hey, bro, let's start off with the Thunder today. You know what I'm
Oof.
saying? I think
Okay.
let's start off with the bad news. I think you could talk about they beat the Pistons while we were chopping it up on Wednesday.
Hmm.
We haven't talked in a few days. Obviously, Shea had that 30-point game. You hear what the announcer before you get into it, you hear what the announcer said, bro?
Yeah, was he saying that like he's the MVP, but he's not the best player in the league or something? And I'm not gonna lie, like I guess, but like you don't have to do that. I think it was just
Yeah,
he was just
that's
cooking them
yeah,
so much. I think the last time we played them, Shea kind of showed why he is the MVP of the league. I think he
right,
had like
right.
three straight possessions of like making tough like baskets, and I think is that is a thing I kind of want to talk about with like whenever you watch like the commentary from like a different like the other team's point of view. They're I
Yeah,
mean it's their job, you know what I mean, so they're gonna be biased and they're
right.
gonna be very one-sided, but like
They're not going to support the Thunder,
no,
exactly.
and it's crazy because like obviously I watch a lot of the home games, and honestly, anytime I watch the Thunder, it's usually through the Thunder's commentators, and they're the same way too. But it's it's just crazy to like say that, but like I kind of agree with them a little bit. It just kind of is like you don't need to bring that up, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
um,
bro. Yeah.
yeah, like you said, got that big win against the Pistons. It's I think you like you said, it just kind of is just a display of what Shea has been doing all season. And
Yeah.
we've been pretty much been consistent prior to this last game that I'll probably have a lot more to talk about, obviously, because that was one of the losses that we've gotten in the past. I think we're 9-1 of our last 10, so that was the one loss. But
Right.
yeah, bro, Pistons are balling out. They were short Cade. I don't think they had Isaiah Stewart, obviously, for the suspension as well. So they were down a couple men,
All over.
but they're really impressive, bro. I'm not gonna lie. The Thompson twins, bro. I think
Yeah.
we've been talking highly of them all season, and they're gonna be a problem in this league for the foreseeable future, bro. Just the way they play, they're those type of players that were like you have on your team, like you have a high chance of winning that ball game just because of the way they play. And I personally I think Amin has kind of got into stardom a little sooner than Asar just because of his health, I would say, but they're pretty much the same type of player. Amen has been dropping triple doubles. He had a big block against Shea last night. He's able to do these things that like not pretty much not a lot of defenders can do. Asar as well, and they're just the athletic ability is like it's just God given, bro. Like they're ridiculous. I see
Yeah,
clips of them on Twitter or just oh, speaking of, sorry, sidetrack, shot creators back. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that. Wow,
I checked it
it's
because I,
great,
I was like going through my tabs. Sorry, side tangent. It just
amazing.
and I clicked on it. I was like, oh, it's back.
That's
So
amazing.
for all
That'll
my
make my day,
yeah,
bro.
for all my hoops fans, bro. Shot Creator is
Yeah,
back. So shout out Shot Creator. They shows all the clips, all highlights, and you could break it down to mid range, 3-pointers, in the paint, everything. So sorry, I had to bring that up because it just was fresh in my mind. I didn't want to
they-
forget that.
they're no doubt the best website for
Oh,
that. Yeah,
100%, bro.
no doubt.
So,
So
just kind of like I was going back to Amen, just kind of what he's able to do, bro. Just on the court is his
oh,
speed is crazy. He can guard pretty much 1 through 5, depending on who your five is,
that's what it is.
and he's gotten a lot better offensively. I mean, obviously we know he's gonna get his dunks, he's gonna get the fast breaks, but it's just his ability to get to the rim. I think that's what I've been most impressed with, and obviously his jump shot's gonna develop, but. Kind of going to this Rockets game, talking about Amen and stuff, and the other Thompson twin Asar. Bro, what can I say, man? They were up by like 20 at one point in that game, and it just looked like they were hitting all their shots. It looked like we didn't have an answer for Sengun, which credit to him. Sengun is obviously an all-star. He's one of the better centers in our league. I'd probably say top 10 maybe off the top of my head. Maybe obviously he's an all-star, so
Yeah, yeah,
and I think it's just kind of just goes to show kind of what we talked about with the Rockets. They've super good team. This is their first 50-win season since I think 2019, and I think it's the first time they clinched a playoff spot since the 2020. So shout out to that, and then what Ime has been developing in Houston has been incredible, bro. I think we talked highly about them last pod, 2 pods ago, whatever it may be, and it was just kind of it. Not saying that like I won't say they're better than us, but obviously they were better than us that day because when you have Jalen
yeah.
Green able to drop 30. And I think the thing that I've been most impressed with him as of late is his playmaking ability. Because I feel like that's the type of things that he's been working on throughout the whole season. That the first time or the last time we played them, um, he's driving to the rim and just trying to get a layup or trying to do a floater or get it off the backboard. And, when we have iHeart and Chet or just the defenders we have, it's not easy to do that. But he was having them collapse on him and just dishing it to Sengun or Amen or kicking it out to
Yeah,
like, oh, bro, like I think they have Jayshawn Tate, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
he
Was Reed Shepard in there?
no, I don't think Reed Shepard got any play, honestly, but it was
Okay.
it was the yeah, it was Jayshawn Tate. He hit three threes and Sengun dropped 31, Jalen Green dropped 34. When you have that type that duo
Exactly.
being able to do that, it's hard to stop them because we couldn't get any offense going. Isaiah Joe was out, and that's obvious. Probably our best 3-point shooter we have, and I think that was kind of one of the things that I noticed with him not being on the floor. He's a huge contributor of us able to like shorten those like whenever we have like a big margin that we're trying to come back. He's
Yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah,
that
yeah.
flamethrower that kind of gets us going, and
And
then
close that margin.
once he gets
Yeah,
going, then you're gonna have to respect him, and you can't just double off of him the whole game and stuff. So that was
yeah,
kind of something I noticed, but. Chet had an incredible game. He hit 6. He was 6 from 8 from the three. He was really the only person getting going from the three. And really, J Dub had a great game. He dropped 33, but I think it was probably I wouldn't say the worst performance because I think it was what was that one game that Shea had a terrible game, but he still dropped 20. But what you said
Clippers.
Clippers? Yeah, yeah, that's what it was. This is it wasn't like a that bad of a game. Obviously, he still dropped 22, but he just really couldn't get it going. And I think obviously he relies, not doesn't rely, but he gets fouls a lot. But he didn't get to the free throw line until like the end of the third quarter. So I think that was having to do
Um,
with it. Like we were talking about, Houston has one of the better defenses in the league, and they're able to swarm our defenders. We caused a lot of turnovers. It was bad, bro, and
yeah,
they were
yeah,
just
yeah.
they were just hitting everything too. So it just wasn't our day. But of course, like I said, I learn more from the losses whenever like Thunder lose, obviously, and just kind of taking it away, bro. It wasn't the best performance from Shea, but we saw the ability that Chet has. He's able to knock down those threes, and if he could get that going into the playoffs, that would be very, very helpful for us. And then J Dub, kind of like I've been telling you throughout the whole season, like who's that next man up? I think he's kind of
Right.
showing us that he is
I
that
was gonna
guy.
say that.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I think
he's been awesome.
he's been great, bro. And not even just what he could do on the offensive side, but what he could do on the defensive side as well. But what was causing us a lot of problems as well. Something I noticed, they had Steven Adams in there, so they had a two big lineup, and they were killing us on the boards, bro. Steven Adams was getting a lot of putbacks. He was getting a lot of boards, kicking it out, and then Sengun, he was kind of making Chet look like he was like average defender, which like he's
Yeah,
one of
look
the
good.
yeah, and it's crazy because he's Chet's taller than him, but he was just bodying him, and like he did this crazy ass spin move dunk, and he started talking crazy. I'm like, okay, man, okay, I see you, but like
Yeah, for sure.
we'll
He's
see.
got it.
Yeah, he's got it. He's
We'll see.
cold, but yeah, no, man, it was just like I can't complain. We were getting it close. We
Nah,
would get it within 9 points, and then they would come down, hit a three, and then like I said, their defense is just really good, bro. And there was the start of the fourth quarter is usually when we sit Shea, and I think we had him out until probably like the 7 minute mark, 6 minute mark going into the fourth. And it's kind of like at that point, not a lost cause, but like he couldn't really get it going, and J Dub was doing what he could, but it was just a great performance from the Rockets, bro. They were looking really good. I think they solidified their second seed, so shout out to that. And yeah, it's just one of
right.
those games, bro, where they just they had it going that night, and I feel like with I feel like a lot of people, oh, was the Thunder gonna get 70? I was like, damn, bro, I wish, but even if they didn't, this is still a great season. And Zach actually asked me, he was like, man, if the Thunder don't make at least the Western Conference Finals, like, is this like a lost season? And I was like, it's hard for me to say because, like, of course, like you looking at the numbers, this is statistically one of the best teams that we've ever seen. I was like, I mean, I guess, but like we're so young, bro. Like, I don't feel like that's
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that
yeah.
the experience and stuff. Like, I've been talking to you about it. Everyone's been talking about it. The playoff experience for a young team, if they kind of got, if you look at it, like a lot of teams are like that. They'll be doing good, and they'll be a top seed, and then something happens come playoff time, and whatever happens. But it's hard for me to say it was a fail because it was a great season regardless of
Right.
so I don't know, like I told him, I was like, I mean, I guess, but like everyone's goal is to make the champion or to win a chip, but it's just not how it works, and like I feel like a certain type of games and environments, like like it just depends, bro. So it was hard
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, yeah.
It's hard for me to answer that question just because like this has been the greatest regular season OKC team I've seen. So it's not a failure in my eyes if we don't make it to the finals or whatever it may be. Of course we're expected to because of how well we've been playing, but it's not just based off of that, so I kind of like, I don't know how to go about answering that question because of course like I want to see my team win a chip, but it all boils down to you know experience. The Warriors, they had their second round exits, prior to the dynasty, and even Boston, they made it to the finals, they didn't win, and the next year they ended up going back. You know what I mean? So it's like you kind of got to go through stuff, and I feel like that is the only thing missing for us. But I'm not gonna use that as an excuse for it. Us saying that it's not our time and this and that, because we've seen regular season and we've seen how they played, 77 games into the season. So it's like, yes, I expect them to do well, but it's just kind of playoff is just a whole different atmosphere. So, but yeah, no, man, it was, not the best performance. Like I said, we were down by 20 at one point. We would bring it back, but we just didn't have the juice to get this dub. But, shout out to Houston. I'll never discredit a team, and the way that they played, they're looking like, if they play like that coming into the playoffs, they're gonna be one of those teams that can give someone a run for their money. But just depending on who they get matched up with. But we'll see, man.
Hell
It
yeah.
was a great game. Like I said, wasn't the outcome that I would like to see, but I mean, you can't win them all.
Oh man. Yeah, no, of course. And it's great to see them lose, honestly. I think it's good for the league. It reminds people that you're not invincible. I think that's what happened with the Cavs winning streak earlier in the year too. I mean, it just happens, You like you said, I think it's one of those games. Going back to Zach's question about the window, I think it's a lot bigger than people may think.
Yeah.
I would argue even if they don't go to the finals this year, like let's say they lose in the Western Conference Finals, which they could. I mean, if Shea wins MVP, like they have all the. I don't think that's for the. We'll talk about it in the summer. We're not going to get into it now, but the players that they have on their roster, they're not super cheap, but they do have guys that are probably going to be willing to take pay cuts to just give Shea and Chet and most likely J Dub. Obviously they'll take up the majority of the payroll, but we're
Mm-hmm.
not going to get into that right now. But the point is it's just yeah, like the Thunder have a ton of depth. They're extremely young and they've been consistent for the last 3 seasons. So to me, I think you're looking at 3 or 4 more seasons of them competing at this level.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I mean, hey, you take it for what it is. But
Yeah.
going into the Lakers, man, I think, yeah, we keep getting these. We've said it before on this podcast. Obviously, you understand, but these battles versus LeBron James and Steph Curry, you just don't get very often anymore. So I know you watch it whenever you can. I don't know if you tuned into that one.
Yeah.
I know you probably seen our story too, because I'm going to talk about it in a second. The role players, right? Pods. Let's start with him. Yeah, I mean, there you go. I don't really have any words for that. When somebody gets that hot, career high 8 threes, there's really not much we can do. And it's tough because you guys have to remember they have Stephen Curry, the best shooter in the world. So if somebody else gets that hot, you got to guard, you got to pick, right? And if somebody's in the zone, we're gonna let Brandon Podziemski shoot as many threes as he may want, even if he's on fire, because that's the game plan. They got the best shooter in the world over there. You can't leave. We're not gonna go double pod. So I think he stepped up to the plate massively. Curry had 5 points in the first half, finished with 37. So I think Podziemski's scoring opened up what Curry was able to do. Again, he had 28 points, bro. It's just the flow of their offense as well. I wanted to bring it up and give credit to the Warriors. You've seen this throughout the entirety of Steve Kerr's term there, I would say, but their motion offense is second to none. They're probably one of the only teams in the NBA right now that kind of reminds me of a college team in a sense, the way that they play. Very motion esque. They do run a ton of down screens and elevator action for Steph Curry, and they like to have him curling, and they do a lot of cool stuff. I think it's very interesting. I was gonna bring this up. Like I don't know a ton of people who are on their staff, but they've done a great job over the last decade or so building that offense into what it is and allowing Stephen Curry to again, like he can have 5 points in the first half and end up with 40. And I was gonna bring this up to you, man. Our defense on guards is horrible. I think if we face the Thunder or another team that has multiple guard, we're cooked. We're cooked because we cannot we've struggled against guarding point guards all season. It continues to be an issue here. And unfortunately, the point guards in the NBA are, they're extremely skilled, especially now in 2025. You really don't run into many guys who are starting point guards who are not good players in the NBA. So we're gonna have to clean that up. Obviously, dealing with Steph Curry, it's a lot. Any team is gonna struggle against the Warriors in terms of what he brings on a daily basis. So, I was very impressed with how they played offensively. This was more of an offensive game too. It was very high scoring. LeBron ended up with 33, and then Austin Reeves, man. We've talked about LeBron a lot, but we've talked about Austin Reeves as well a ton. Bro, I mean, he's to me, man. I've said it before, but he's the biggest surprise when it comes to this year and his improvement and just his confidence is it's awesome, man. I think
Mhm.
he had like what was it, eight triples, I think, nine triples maybe. No, he had
Nine.
nine triples. Yeah, nine triples, bro, and like that's that's a sniper right there. Like he's gonna get paid, man. We're gonna have to figure out a way to keep him on the squad because
Mhm.
it's gonna be very tough. Luca goes kind of when you get these. I was gonna bring it up. We posted it on the story on Three Men on Instagram, but when he only gives you 19 points, he's been struggling recently. Kind of over the last five. I think he's only averaging like 20 points over the last 5 games, which is it's great. I don't know if you remember when I told my dad, yeah, the 20-point triple doubles is it's like not cool for him. Whenever
Right.
he's averaging 20, it's like, oh my goodness, what's going on? And it's crazy
Mhm.
to say that, but we just kind of take that for granted and what he can do in terms of his scoring output. So when we get a 19-point performance from him, our offense is going to be stuck in mud. We had this one play, I think it was in the fourth. Luca was able to get a basket and bring the Lakers close. It was like 105-99, and I don't know, man. Curry ended up hitting like back-to-back threes, I think, and it just extended the lead. And those are just heartbreakers for us, especially whenever they're flowing like this. And they've been one of the hottest teams in the NBA. So I think this was another instance of us running into a oncoming train. Uh, like kind of like what happened with the Rockets in your game. I think it's good timing for them. They're playing us at a good time because the Warriors are on fire right now, and they've been one of the better teams in the NBA. So, Curry was also coming off the 52-point effort. I want to say he's been averaging 40 so far. It's been a short April, but in the games in April, he's been just torching. So, I don't know, man. I think we have a lot of answers defensively that we need to figure out because yeah, we can't guard the point guards right now, and that's something that's hurt us all year. I've brought that up extensively, but it's something that's killing us, man. I'm like, oh my goodness, like Curry, Shea, like Anthony Edwards, like all these. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to figure that out for sure. But really, I'm excited because this past game against the Pelicans, bro, like it was a lot
Mhm.
better. I think whenever Luca's in a flow, I was going to bring this up to you as well. Um, it it kind of like it gallops our whole team. Like everybody wants to play whenever Luca's going for 35, 40 points, like everybody feels more involved. He sprays the ball around, he gets other people involved, and it just seems like the offense opens up whenever he's doing those things. And we haven't gotten a Luka performance like this in a while. So obviously he had 35 points, which is a nice showing. Reeves also had 30 as well. I think I think six or seven triples in this game against the Pelicans. He continues to do damage from the arc. I think post All-Star break, bro, I want to say he's averaging 25, something like that, something bonkers. Just moved into the most improved player award race as well. It's crazy that we had brought him up as a dark horse, but he's now actually on the list, which again makes sense. I don't know if you saw what JJ Redick had to say about that, but he said it's a broken award, and I sort of agree, especially with the last three or four winners. They've been first round, high draft pick. Austin Reeves sometimes, I forget that he's undrafted.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So people got to remember that. But we were able to exploit the Pelicans on the defensive end. I think they're tanking right now. Clearly, they're not looking to invest in getting any wins, and I think it showed in their offensive output. Um, Doncic was struggling, especially against the Warriors defense, to be able to figure out and operate. But whenever you're playing up against a softer defense in the Pelicans, it's obviously going to be a lot easier to do your own thing. And I think that was able to galvanize the team. Um, I was going to bring this up to you, man. I don't know what the Pelicans are going to do. Did you see that Zion got ruled out for the season?
Hmm. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, man. So we're not going to talk about his play on the court because it's always awesome. But to see them kind of in disarray, it has me. Well, one, I'll take the cookie. Obviously, we got to take the W where you can get it, but it's tough, man, because I want to see the Pelicans do well. They used to be a highly competitive team. That used to be a team where if the Lakers played them, I would consider them a quality team.
Hmm.
But as of right now, just due to injuries and just the other things that have been going on, I mean, that's why Jose Alvarado in this game had 30 points. And again, I just said it, but we cannot guard point guards. Even somebody like Jose Alvarado, who really shouldn't have 30 points on anybody, no offense to him, especially not against the Lakers, though, especially with the caliber of defenders that we have. Why is he going for 30 points? I had it in my notes. We can't operate on ball screens, and we don't communicate well whenever players are going downhill. We're not always in help side. Like I told you, I brought it up before. We like to blame others still. We're not always there in the right defensive position, and that's something the Thunder are always doing. They're always consistent with that, and I think that's something that Dagnall has preached in practice. I'm sure JJ does as well, but it really does translate whenever you can see the difference whenever you're watching the Thunder and the Lakers in terms of their defensive output. But it was not good on guards again, so super disappointing. I think we were we started off pretty hot, bro. Like I don't think we ever really had any threats of us losing the game. Um, Obviously, um, it's just tough with the opponents right now because I think our schedule has been so full. Our strength of schedule has been tough. So whenever we get games like this, we really do need to win. Um, it boosted. I think we're the third seed right now, and I was talking to CJ about it. Like the sixth seed is kind of up for grabs. We're gonna get into it later. Kind of like the Western Conference playoff picture and what that's gonna look like. But it was a good game, man. I think again, like I'm not gonna go into too much detail about it because it's not really a quality opponent, but I think whenever Austin Reeves, LeBron James, and Luka Doncic all give you 30 points, it's going to be difficult for any team to be able to defeat us. And I was going to bring this up. That's our playoff run right there. Like if those guys don't show up in a playoff series, we're going home because we don't have the defensive like strength like the Thunder do or the Cavaliers, the Celtics do to be able to withstand nights that we don't have any offense.
Hmm.
Um, I think we've sparingly done that at times, right? The Jokic game. We've had a few other nights where we've played really, really good defense. But other than that, man, I think, bad team, good win. We gotta take all of them because the West is a nightmare. And I think we're gonna get into that in a second. But we also play you guys tomorrow, man. Super excited for that. Um, I'm looking forward to it. I was telling my girlfriend as well. Sometimes I forget that the Thunder play the Lakers, because they don't always play
Right.
all the time, and I do three man so consistently, and I'm always talking about them. But um, yeah, just to recap it, I think the Thunder should play at home.
Mm.
So it's from my perspective, I'm not expecting anything great per se. We've been not the best road team. I think that's also something we have to improve in the playoffs. Um, Whenever it comes to again our defensive strategy, it's going to be interesting to see how we play against Shea and J Dub. We've gotten torched by guards recently, so expect 30-point nights from those dudes. I'd say J Dub's going to give you 20, Shea the 30 ball, obviously. Um, it's really just going to come down to again how Luka's feeling, how Reeves is feeling, how LeBron's feeling, and it's tough. It's all on their shoulders, but that's really what our team is. We don't have a dual big lineup like the Thunder can roll out at any given moment. I don't know if you saw it on NBA University. The Thunder are now 15-2. They were 15-1 with iHeart and Chet in the lineup
Hmm.
since that loss to the Rockets. But other than that, bro, like I think the Lakers have a chance to get a W here if we can put up an offensive output that allows us to compete with the Thunder's offensive output. And then we're really gonna have to figure out how we can guard these point guards, man, because it's something it's really that's the biggest. I would, we don't have a center that's super skilled that can guard whatever, but I would argue that in the playoffs it really comes down to the point guards and what how they're able to dictate the offense and the point forwards, and those are mainly the guys who are doing damage, and that's really where we're struggling right now. Um, I could see us even running like a zone or something if iHeart and Chet are both out there because we
Mm-hmm.
don't have the bodies to be able to withstand that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think JJ is going to come in prepared. We have the day off today, and I think the Thunder,
Yeah, we do too.
yeah, Thunder have the day off. Oh
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Thunder have had a little road, but they're a little like road trip, but they're going on their homestand now. It's going to be interesting to see what they can muster up for this game. But I'm excited, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get some fireworks. I'm expecting a 120-116 game. It'll be close, but I think Luca also has averages like 30 against the Thunder as well. So we'll have to see how they guard him. I don't. Well, I'll ask you. They won't double probably, huh?
Nah,
Unless
probably
he's like,
not.
yeah,
Unless he's
yeah,
torching, but
like
I mean,
50 or something. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I feel like that's the thing. Like we are a pretty good defensive team. So like you said, if Luca gets it going, then I feel like if he gets it going early, that'll be tough to stop. And that, like you were saying, once he gets it going, then everyone kind of gains that confidence. And I feel like we kind of know what to expect from Luca, LeBron, and AR. So it's kind of if they have great games, then it's probably going to be a closer game. But I think the thing where we'll probably, like you said, y'all don't defend point guards well, and we probably have the best point guard in the league on our team. And I think really what is gonna be a deciding factor is probably our bigs. You know what I mean? I feel like that's something where we could kind of exploit y'all a little bit because after the performance that Chet just have him having his career high for 3 pointers made, and iHeart's been doing great. Having those two out there has been definitely a saving grace for us because they are able to play make for us and do those like dribble handoffs to Shea, and I feel like that's gonna put y'all in certain situations where come defense, unless y'all go into a zone, which a lot of teams have, and that is a weaker spot for us. It's harder for us to get our offense going for Shea at least, and but if we're hitting our threes, then it's kind of a different ball game.
yeah, it's
But
gonna be a long night.
yeah, so
And
but
yeah, I was gonna bring up we're 32-14 against the Western Conference, so we play well against the West, but
mhm,
yeah, it's just a on the road game. It's a tough atmosphere. I think the Thunder are shooting like 48% from the field this year, dude.
mhm,
Almost 50%. So one out of every two buckets is dropping, and they're one of the most efficient teams in the NBA. It's shout out Kurt Goldsberry, but he does the efficiency landscape, and yeah, we're the last 10 games we're not. I think we're in quadrant two. We're not in quadrant of wow anymore though.
mm,
We were wowing, I think, in February. Remember?
yeah, yeah, for
Like
sure.
yeah, like we were wow. Like it was like wow. Like our defensive metrics were awesome, and um they've tilted a little bit. Obviously, there's a lot of concerns about Luca's health and his conditioning, and again, we'll probably get tired of because we'll do this for years, so we'll probably get tired of talking about it. But that's been an issue his whole career.
Mhm,
Um, we've heard that for years at this point. So I hope he's feeling good. I think you brought up a really good point with the zone. I truly think we may see that tomorrow because
mhm,
you're right. I think the Thunder struggle against that. We have the bodies to be able to play a good 2-3. But going up against man seems like a death sentence. So we'll have to see, man.
yeah,
They also allow hundreds like 7 points per possession
mhm,
or per 100 possessions. So best defensive team in the NBA.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be great,
Yeah.
man. It's always
I think that number, CJ, if I'm not mistaken, is the best ever
yeah, yeah, it is.
in a season. So
Yeah, yeah,
They're only giving up 107 points a game.
yeah. It's nuts, bro. That's what I was saying. Like we're all witnessing one of the greatest defensive teams that we've ever seen in the league. You know what I mean? And it's
Man,
crazy to think of that, but like,
yeah,
it is it is what it is, but yeah, it's gonna be a great game, bro. I mean, anytime, obviously for us personally, you're a Laker fan, I'm a Thunder fan, so anytime we're able to like actually sit down, watch it, and then
of
that
course.
the pod on Monday is gonna be lit. Just
Oh
really,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? Because
yeah.
we'll be able to chop it up, and we're both gonna be locked in. So can't wait for that, man. And like you said, y'all have the ability to be able to make beat us, honestly, and I think I've told you that all season. Y'all just, it's been the consistency for y'all, and I think that is really the only difference between us and y'all is the defensive consistency we have, and also just being able to have like the depth that I've told you we've had throughout this whole season. Because Aaron Wiggins could come off the bench and drop 25. You know what I mean? Like it just
Yeah,
depends who gets it going. But yeah, no, it's gonna be great, man. I can't wait. We're gonna be locked in. So everyone look forward to our recap of that on the
for
Monday
sure,
pod.
man.
And yeah,
Exciting.
it's gonna be lit, man. I can't wait.
I think so far in the season series, I don't think we won a game yet,
Mm,
or one.
we've only played y'all once, and
Y'all won though.
we won. Yeah, yeah. But we play
I think
y'all.
we played y'all twice.
I was gonna say we play y'all not back to back, but 2 days, the 6th and then the 8th. So
Pretty soon. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. That's cool. That's cool, man. I was just telling you about it. Sometimes I forget that we even play, but
yeah.
because we didn't play that much this year, honestly, less
Hmm.
than last year. So I think we
Yeah,
played 4 times last year or something like that.
yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Because I remember talking about it. But let's get into the West, man. I was gonna ask if you could do me a favor and pull up the playoff pictures so far in the Western Conference.
Hmm.
We're just gonna go through with you guys. The reason we're bringing it up is it's a bloodbath. I think it's important to talk about. I think there's 5 days left in the season, right, or
Hmm.
something like that. There's like five more
Five
games.
more
Sorry,
games. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, on the schedule. Not days, my bad. But point is it's super competitive. It's coming down to the wire. The Oklahoma, we're not going to talk about the Thunder. They're obviously far and away the number one seed. Congratulations to CJ. Clearly, his team is the best in the NBA and also in the West, obviously.
Hmm.
Um, Pretty much everybody else, though, aside from the Rockets, too, pretty much. I think the Lakers down.
Hmm.
It's scary. It's scary. Even the Rockets, too.
Hmm.
They're in the mix as well. I think these teams is these are, in my opinion, the West has the most finals competitors, right? When we look at the East and their resume this year, it's not anything. I think the Sixers got unlucky. There's a couple teams that are now injured, like the Bucks and some other squads, but the West is far and away better than the East is this year, and I think it speaks to how close this playoff race really is. And so we're gonna get into it. I think, I'd like to start on the Rockets. You brought up Ime, man, and we talked about it too, Pocket, when we were talking about the Coach of the Year. Yeah, they've been awesome. 51 and 27, I want to say. Second seed firmly. In my opinion, their performance against the Thunder answered some questions for me on what they can do. I think they caught the Thunder on a back-to-back one and two. It's not a playoff situation, so like CJ said, we'll have to see. I think Jalen Green though, anytime he gives you almost 40, yeah, sure, you're gonna win. I think um, my issue is like who's the seven because that's you'll start to see whenever we go through this is like if they get a not so good matchup for them. I think they're going home in the first round, right? Because we brought
Right.
that up two podcasts ago. You brought up, I think, you were bringing up the Thompson twin. He's been awesome. I think he'll have to really step up in the playoffs, and I think they're going to really, focus on Şengün and Jalen Green, and so it's going to give those guys some other opportunities to contribute, and he looks ready.
Hmm.
Um, I think they're also one of the better teams in the NBA, defensive wise, and that's going to lead to a lot of playoff battles for sure. Like they're gonna be able to slow down the pace of the game, slow down the opposing team's offense and make it difficult for them to be able to get buckets. And that's something you always want in the playoffs. But my question is just the scoring. So that remains to be seen. They've had an awesome year. So it's cool to see them this high, like you said, since 2019. So they've secured their playoff spot early, and shout out to them. I think I'm not mistaken, CJ. Who what's their remaining schedule looking like?
Let me see. I got you.
Because I don't think that their schedule's super difficult on the way out, but
Actually, I think they have one of the tougher. Yeah, so they have Golden State, L.A., Golden State, Clippers, Lakers, Denver. So
oh,
yeah, and then they played us yesterday. So yeah, it's. I think it was one of the tougher schedules.
ooh-wee,
Yeah.
ooh-wee. Okay, well that's not good for them.
Mm-hmm.
They're staring down the barrel of a tough end. Like that's why I said yesterday. I think that's good for them. They were able to beat the Thunder. That was a check mark. Like that's a big win for sure. But yeah, these games for sure that are coming up for them are going to be tough. That's
Oh yeah.
interesting. I did not know that. Yeah, they're threatened to drop to the third seed now for sure.
Mm-hmm.
In my head, would you agree for sure?
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
think they
all
go
those
two and
teams are
two.
hot. 2-2.
Yeah, yeah. I think they could beat the Nuggets. They
The
probably wouldn't beat the
Clips.
Warriors, the Clippers, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was gonna say I think y'all could. I think y'all could get them, and
Yeah,
so I think the Warriors can too.
yeah. The Rockets fans should be extremely excited though.
Yeah, 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 bro. They're in a good spot. Like you
Yeah,
said, at least top three, at bare
for
minimum.
sure, for sure. Yeah, going on to my team. I mean, we were just talking about them, but they've been right. They're the three seed right now. CJ,
Yes.
record 47-30, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, when I last checked. So yeah, we've been awesome too. We have a chance to get 50 wins as well. I think that would be really cool. I brought that up on another podcast, but our schedule on the way out's tough too. I know we play the Thunder twice starting tomorrow.
Yep.
The Lakers have been dominant at home, and like I said, we're 32 and 14 against the Western Conference. Like we've played awesome this year. I was gonna say like the mid-season trade of Luka Doncic. I think like that went
Mm-hmm.
according to plan. Like that was not a disaster at all. He's been awesome. He immediately pretty much went in the lineup a week or two after that calf injury. He's been playing ever since. So super super awesome. But dude, the Nuggets are right on our heels, man. I think they're the team that has 31 losses but 47 wins.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna be flip flopping back and forth. The Nuggets have Nikola Jokic, who's an MVP candidate, second in the current and last. Yeah, I guess the final straw poll for the MVP. So he's been performing at an all-time level. He continues to do stuff that just defies the game of basketball. I was gonna ask you, did you see what Steve Kerr had to say about him?
No, what did he say?
The best center he's ever seen.
Oh yeah, I did
He's
see
like
that because he's
I've
like
seen Kareem,
Kareem.
I've
Yeah.
seen I've seen a lot of people, but they couldn't do this stuff. And I yeah, man, I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna say it like he's threatening to be a top 25 player of all time. I would say he's already there, just based off his resume and what he's doing. And if he doesn't win MVP, it'll obviously be the best non-MVP season ever. So like you guys won't have to do hard trivia to look for that. But
Right.
I think Shea deserves it. But he is the reason they're going right now. So they're only one loss behind the Lakers. That's because he's averaging 40 this month. 10 boards or 12 boards, 10 assists, a triple double this month, a 40.1 because of that 60-point performance. Obviously, it's going to boost the numbers in April. But yeah, the Nuggets are playing around him. I think the role players continue to step up. Christian Braun, MPJ, like you've brought him up, that he's had an amazing season. He's been super consistent as well. Whenever he's healthy, he's awesome, man. I think the back injuries continue to hamper him, but he's been healthy the last two seasons, and they've been able to squeeze a lot of juice out of him, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out MPJ. We're in a tight little playoff battle with them. So hopefully, I don't know what their strength of schedule is on the way out. If you pull it up, maybe you can
Yes.
see.
So they got Indy, Sacramento, Memphis, Houston. So
Yep.
you know, so, I mean, three playoff or they're all play in playoff teams.
For
So
playoff. Yeah, 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 yeah.
so
Yeah. So yeah, there I think all of what's cool about the West is I think if you're in the West, your schedule's hard. You're gonna play pretty solid teams throughout one through the sixth seed, and even people in the play-in are kind of threatening. So that was 3-4. I think the Warriors are the fifth, right? If I'm not mistaken. They have
yes,
a 46-31 record, so they're also right there as well. Only one win behind those other two teams I just previously mentioned. They are in the hottest form, I would say, right now, besides the Thunder in the NBA. Um, 15 or 17-2 now since they've acquired Jimmy. They
hmm
barely have lost any games. And it's not to say that they're threatening to win an NBA Finals, but boy, they're going to get most likely the 4 seed. They're looking at a 4-5 matchup that's going to be probably 7 games. So I pray for them. I was going to say, I don't know if their first round's going to be easy if they stay in the fifth seed, but I think Steve Kerr and the Warriors we'll do our we did like our finals, but we'll do the individual matchups whenever they happen,
right.
and you'll probably see like okay, like the Warriors are probably going to win just based off their form. I think Jimmy Butler gives them another offensive weapon that they didn't have before. And that's really what's done it for them. I brought them up earlier, 30 minutes ago, the offensive motion as well. A lot of teams still can't figure out how to guard that. It's been a problem for the last decade. And then Steve Curry, the resume, Steph Curry, like they're not afraid of the playoffs whatsoever.
hmm
So any matchup they get, I think the Warriors are gonna win, bro. Unless it's my team or the Thunder. But anybody else, I think you're looking at a team that's gonna be competing. And they said Steph Curry is in demon mode right now. He can smell blood. That's what they said. So we'll see, man. We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
How do
yeah.
you think they're? I don't think no. I don't think they're gonna go to the finals. I don't think
Nah,
what Draymond Green, bro, said in February, like they're gonna go. So
yeah.
I'm not having that.
I don't think they will, but they have their last five is Houston, Phoenix, San Antonio, Portland, and then the Clippers. I think they could.
Awesome.
I think they could go like 4-1, bro. Like
Or
they,
one.
yeah,
They probably will.
they might go 5-0.
So
Honestly, like the only team I'm kind of iffy about is Houston, just off of that performance yesterday that they played. But I think Phoenix, San Antonio, Portland. I think that's a
I wanted to bring this up to you. I want the audience to be aware. There might be some seed hopping going around, so you might see Jokic sit. I was going to ask you,
mm,
what's your opinion on that, and trying to make sure your matchup's better than because when it's this tight, it matters. If you want to punt a game, whatever. I'm sure the NBA will find you, but what are your thoughts on that?
I think I mean it's smart. It's a part of the game. I remember a couple years ago people were talking about. I think it was like Clippers. I think they were in like the playoff hunt and they were kind of like, oh, should we sit Kawhi? Should we sit PG? Whatever it may be, so we could not go. I think it was they might have went against the Mavs or something like that in the first round and like, oh, should we do that? I mean, I I'm not opposed to it because like it's smart, like you because at when it comes to these last games and come playoff time, it's all about matchups and obviously if you can make it a little bit easier for you to get to the next round, you're gonna do whatever it takes, and that may be throwing a game. And obviously it's not like the best
Right.
for like an actual fan, like a fan of the sport. You may not like it, but I mean, as a coach, as the players, like I'm pretty sure they're not opposed to. Oh yeah, hey, take some rest. We'll say you got a little hamstring injury or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
for
whatever it
sure.
may be, so you could get a little
A
bit
little
of rest.
sickness.
Yeah, a little sick. You got the flu or something. It's like, I. It's just I feel like it's just like the high IQ plays type of thing. Like you're thinking for the long run. You're not thinking of at this very moment. So I'm not opposed to it. Of course, like I want to be able to see the best players at all the time
People
on the
pay
court.
money. Right,
Right,
right.
but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when it comes
For
down
sure.
to it, it's like you're gonna do what's best for your team and put yourself
Of
in a
course.
winning situation. So
That goes into my next point, man. So, can you name the teams that have the identical 45 and 32 records for me, please? I think it's the six through the eight.
yeah, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves,
Yes,
Los
sir.
Angeles Clippers, and Memphis
Yes, sir.
Grizzlies.
Yes, sir. So, out of those three, who do you think has a chance to Honestly, out of those three, who do you think would be the 6, 7, 8?
I think it's gonna stay where it's at. Honestly, I
Really?
yeah, I think the Timberwolves are probably gonna lock up that six. I think they've been playing really well. They're on a 4 game win streak. Uh, Clippers. They're all on win streaks technically. Memphis just won. I feel like Memphis is gonna be the one to drop, and then I
I
think,
agree.
like you said, I think the 6 and 7 is where it's gonna be that race. That
Timberwolves, man,
yeah,
here they are. Right,
yeah,
here they
yeah,
are.
yeah, bro. You talked
They're
about
in the
it.
mix.
Yeah, you were saying that they're one of those teams where their record doesn't really reflect how good of a team they actually are.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
they're
Because
good. So
obviously they had all like the troubles at the beginning of the season where it's saying like, damn, like our
it's crazy you're saying that, and they're almost at 50 wins, but
50
because
win.
of how good the West is, yeah, bro. Like
Yeah,
you're saying, like that's not enough. It
yeah,
seems
yeah,
this year. So,
yeah.
which is
But
insane to say. 50
yeah,
wins.
I think the Timberwolves will probably get that 6 seed though. I think it'll probably
I like
stay where
that,
it's at. Honestly, six,
dude.
seven, eight.
That's. I was gonna say I think the Grizzlies could steal the 6, or they're gonna drop. I think it's either one of those two. So then the T Wolves take the 7. Probably Clippers will be 8. Um, I think all three of those teams play similar style, and they're all pretty. If you get that matchup, they're all like very similar. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the play-in's going to be interesting as well. Obviously, did you see AD's performance coming back
Yes.
from the eye poke and giving them 30 points? And
Mm-hmm.
how did that make you feel, man? Because that put a smile on my face as well. We haven't talked about him, but obviously the Mavericks here they are as well.
Mm-hmm.
For them to be in a dark place and still make the play-in, hats off to them because that shows clearly, they were doing something. So
Yeah, yeah, no, it's great, bro. I mean, I obviously I know how much you love AD, you praise him, and I was talking highly of him when he got traded. When so just the fact that when he's on the court, he's shown us what he's been able to do and provide for the Mavericks. It's been great because like you said,
big game against the
they're really in a dark spot, bro. And like trading Luca, of course, so that that'll put you in a very very grim area, but it's
very
dope.
spot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's dope being able to, like you said, they're still competing for a playoff spot, and I feel like that's really why he came back. I think we talked about it. For him coming back, is it going to be worth it? And I was kind of, I don't think he should, but I'm glad he is, just because he's like he said, like he's showing the city that like, oh, like the type of player that I
Cares.
can be and I care.
Yeah, dude. He's giving them damn near 40.
40, yeah.
So yeah, like there's nothing wrong with that. I love that for sure. And yeah, that I think the Hawks are a good matchup for him too. But he got poked in the eye, came back out, bro, and had a 25-point half and won the game for them, hit a game winner. Like there's a lot that happened with the Mavericks. So they're higher than they were a few weeks ago when we chopped it up about them for sure. I
Mm-hmm.
can smell it a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
good for them. I think they'll play. I think CJ they'll play their way in maybe. I think if they go on a streak, like they have the team, the guard play decent enough to be able to give Anthony Davis some help.
Mm-hmm.
I think if people want to double him, I think that's where they can be dangerous. I think trading Quentin Grimes was really detrimental, but I think they'll be okay. I think where's the record stand right now?
They
Is it
are,
38
yeah, 38 and
and
40.
40? There you go. And then you're looking at the Kings, and then who else
Kings
is in
and
that mix?
then Suns, I guess. They're 2 games out.
Suns. Yeah, yeah, you see, yeah. Yeah, I think we've made it pack before we got on and hit record. Yeah, we're not always going to chop it up about the Suns. They have not been good, but they have a chance to play their way in. And obviously Durant, with the injuries not helping them. He's been out a week, or he's going to be out a week according to Sham. So it's unfortunate, but he's been dangerous all year. I don't know if he's going to make All NBA, right?
Let me double check because I don't think so either.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think you said that to me last time.
he's at 62, so he needs to play
Yeah, you
three.
said no, yeah. He really does have to come back essentially with those 3 games left and just give them 15 minutes, and even if he's hurt, it might be worth it. But I think it's worth it actually. If they can play their way in, why would you not? You know,
Right.
it's just still a playoff spot. I think the Suns with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant on the same court, anything can happen. So don't count those teams out. I think this was just a good exercise to kind of go through, showcase, how close the Western Conference playoff picture actually is, man, and
Hmm.
the audience can get a good taste of what's going to be. The last day of the season might be important.
Oh, very.
Sometimes, in the NBA, like you said, this has been one of the better years for the NBA. But in some recent past years, it hasn't always been important. But this one seems to be super important. So super excited for that. Unfortunately, kind of going into our next segment, man. We were talking highly about the Grizzlies. They've been hooping as well. Like you said, they're on a little streak. But you saw the gestures that Ja was making, and kind
Yeah.
of, what are your thoughts about that? And you see he got fined like 100K or something.
Yeah, I did, bro. It's tough, bro. Cause I mean, I was talking to you like Jaws, one of my favorite players in this league. I spoke highly of him when he got drafted, and whenever he's on the court, playing, we've seen the type of player he is. So I love it. I love his energy. I love him dunking on people, everything. But it's just like stuff like that, bro. I don't know. I don't really think it's necessary, especially with his history of like having the gun and the this and getting suspended. It's just
I
it's
have a different take.
it's just I don't know.
Not that it's necessary,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I was about to say. I'm assuming you probably don't think it's necessary either. But I mean, of course, if someone else is doing it, then maybe like it's not like he was just blatantly just like doing that because, but heat of the moment type of thing. And I feel like that's what makes Ja, like his mentality, like he's never fearing away from a challenge. But I don't know, I
hit a
just
game winner too.
yeah, 100%. That was a yeah. I told you that I had a little parlay in, and I
And
was
they hit it,
gassed when he
yeah.
hit. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, it's I just don't, like I said, I don't really think it's necessary for him to do that. Like, we know you're a great player, and I feel like certain situations you kind of gotta be a bigger
Tone it
man in a
down. Yeah,
sense, and don't do that. Especially it's history. I think that's where it really boils down for me.
yeah, for
Like
sure,
you don't,
for sure.
yeah, because they're gonna be looking out for you doing that specifically because you got
Yeah,
caught up. Like and
for sure.
that's the thing, bro. Like everyone does that. Everyone has been doing that all season, and I think we got a tech for it one game when like we were like doing that. So it's not like it's a new thing, but kind of like
Right.
just like I was saying, just kind of his his like rep. It kind of is like, oh, Jaws, this or that. But I want to see what
My
you think. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
I was gonna bring this up. I don't know if you saw this too. This doesn't have anything to do with the NBA, but it's relevant. Did you see that the NFL banned like the CD Lamb,
Yeah,
right?
I did see that.
So so in my opinion, like while it can be while they're doing that, they're just celebrating. They're literally
Right.
like that grows the game. Like a little white kid doing that because he's wearing a CD Lamb jersey and like there's literally nothing wrong with that. Like that's the point of having like he's not trying to be a gang member. He's
No,
literally just doing a celebration that his favorite player
it
does. Like
does.
there's
Yeah.
no gang affiliate. Like even if gang members do that,
Right.
like even if they may do that, that's CD Lamb is not associating that act with malicious intent
No, he's
like that,
not.
and that's what Jaw like. Neither is Jaw like,
No.
and I guess the malicious intent is up for discretion. I think that's what it is, right? Like, well, he's pointing a gun at somebody. How do you know he's not? I'm like, I'm here to tell you, he's just talking his right.
Right.
Like,
Right.
he's
Right.
not
Right.
really like, oh, like I'm gonna kill this dude, and
Yeah.
right.
He's gonna
But
kill you
like
on the
it,
court.
I understand the interpretation and I
Right.
get that it's up to your discretion. So just because we see it that way, it doesn't mean others see it that way. And I think
Right.
that's what when you bring that up. But bro, to me, that hurts the game a bit. Um, I think there's young kids, black, white, purple, whatever, that look up to John Morant, that look up to CD Lamb, and they want to imitate them, even if it's not necessarily, perfect or by the rule book. That really shouldn't matter.
Mhm.
It's about the joy of the game, and kind of what they bring, and their celebrations bring an extra added flair. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you took away Anthony Edwards, some of the stuff that he does, and he also has the most texts in the NBA, by the way, but I think you know that he's gotten a ton for taunting. Like the rim hanging and stuff, dude, that's bullshit. Excuse my
Yeah.
language, but like he's even had one I think against the Thunder, and it's like this stuff, like you're just doing that because you feel some type of way. Like that's not growing the game. There's a personal like, oh, get off the rim. I'm gonna give you a tech because you were like that's not
Yeah.
to me, that's bad. That's bad basketball. I
Yeah.
don't think they should have fined him. For people that don't know, he did go through the again. The NBA has policies instated where if you abuse a woman, you have alcohol issues, or if you have guns, there's a 90-day period where they set you in. They make you answer to a guidance counselor, and then they drug test you. They
Yeah.
make sure that you're not doing anything crazy. They make sure that you're abiding by those rules that they've set in place for you. And that's the when John got suspended, that's what he was doing. I think he's an awesome young man. You've spoken highly about him. I think he's a good dude. I don't think he means any harm in any way. But yeah, it's sad, bro, because I think a lot of people have opinions on that either A aren't playing basketball or B they don't really know what it's like to come from places like that. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna lie, bro, like it's not to say you do or we're from the ghetto or whatever, but I would say you have some context into that. I have some context into that. And I know some people that be speaking on that just they really don't.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. No,
that's
I
what I
agree.
have to say about that situation. I think Memphis has been also very rowdy like since the Ja era, they've been known to be that way. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's like you said, that's not anything new with Ja either, or the
Mm-mm.
Memphis Grizzlies. Like they've been doing that for the last 5 years. So I think it's an interesting topic, bro. It was cool though to see him hit that game winner. I don't know if you saw his interview after, but he was very talking shit. He kind of talked shit about Chloe Ware, but he's like, yeah, they had a midget on me and like all this. Like he was feeling
Yeah.
himself, bro. But
Yeah, bro. As he
for
should,
sure,
bro. Just hit a game
yeah,
winner, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, 100%. But going into the Heat, man, you saw like they got that playing berth.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I think the who else did was it the Hawks?
Yes.
Yeah, so the Hawks and the Heat, the 2H team. How are you feeling about their season so far? Um, yeah, the Heat have kind of been on fire. Tyler Hero's been on one recently. So
Yeah.
how are you feeling about them?
It's been great being able to see that because I feel like they started off decent. They were like maybe a little above 500, and then they kind of went on a losing streak. Didn't they lose like 10 straight after the
Yeah, they
Jimmy
lost
trade?
hella games, bro.
So,
They
but
lost hella games.
I think it's dope because Heat everyone loves Heat culture. I feel like everyone understands what their franchise is about and hardworking, kind of like blue collar. You know what I mean? But they're in a big city, so it's cool to see that. But just the fact how they're able to still win even when they don't have like a solidified guy. Obviously, Tyler Hero has been having an all-star year. He's been great, but like getting rid of Jimmy was a huge thing for them, and kind of like that morale, everything that was going on in the locker room, whatever, whatever. But they just find ways to win, and I feel like they're always play-in bound. You know what I mean? So are the Bulls. You know what I mean? It's like these teams that you don't really know how well they're going to be doing by the end of the season, but they figure out how to do it. And I don't know, I like that, bro, because that's all they need. And I feel like that's something we've been saying. You just got to make that play in, and if you happen to get that 8 seed, 7 seed, whatever it may be, you're in the playoffs, and this is when like
Yeah, you're there.
real basketball starts. So, and I feel like
You got
with
the
Spoelstra,
opportunity
yeah, with Spoelstra, leading them, like they always have a shot. Not saying that they're gonna make the finals or nothing, but I wouldn't be surprised if they could get a game or two if they end up getting whatever seat they do. They're that type of team in my eyes. They're regardless of losing players, gaining players, going on these crazy losing streaks, but they're still there. I think that also kind of just
Yeah,
goes to show how the East is. Like if you were to do that in the West, you'd be out the playoff picture. You know what I mean?
for
But
sure.
they're
You're
they're able to
done.
still figure out how to do it, and like you said, Khalil Ware. They have Jaime Jaquez hasn't been having that well of a year, but he's one of those players that could step it up in the playoffs, and you
You
know
trust
they.
them, yeah.
I've
Sure.
been I've been liking Bam too. He's been going crazy. I feel like that's
Duncan.
some Dunk. Yeah, they've been going. They're solid, bro. Like they don't have a bad team. I just think they're kind of in like a little rebuild, but their rebuild is still being able to make a play in,
Right.
and not a lot of
Yeah,
teams could
bro.
say that. You know.
Yep, and we spoke at length about the Bulls recently, so
Hmm.
you know that what type of form they're in. They're dangerous as well. They're also going through a rebuild, but they've put trust and faith into Kobe White and Josh Giddey, and they're gonna see how far those guys can take them. Right,
Hmm.
Matas, we had him on the All Rookie second team. Like they got a lot of interesting pieces as well. So shout out to the Bulls and Heat, man. For those fans, I know you guys have been in the dark. You guys continue to be at the bottom of these situations, but somehow, you see the light at the end of the tunnel. So obviously, you guys are gonna get that opportunity. But it's interesting. I think the Heat last time Jimmy Butler felt himself, they were able to kick the Bucks out of the playoffs. Did you see the performance that Giannis had recently?
Oh yes, sir. Yeah, I sure did.
It's the first of its kind.
Hmm.
So for those that don't know, Giannis Antetokounmpo achieved the first ever 35 point, 17 rebound, and 20 assist game. It was the first ever 35, 15, 20 game in NBA history. So, what do you think about that, man? In his MVP case, you know he's not going to win, but he continues to be in the top five of these ballots for the last 5 years. We've talked about him at length on this podcast, but how you feel about the Bucks right now?
Man, when you have a player like Giannis, bro, it's hard to count you out of a playoff series or just your success. You know, just because feel like you said, he's having an incredible season. It just so happens to be the two front runners are having a better season. You know, maybe not statistical wise, but team success, and I feel like that's the main reason. Obviously they're kind of going through the whole Dame injury right now, but AJ Green is still balling out. You have Gary Trent hitting shots. You have Brook Lopez still doing his thing. Like they're one of those teams where depending on who they match up with, which is looking like Pacers, or it's looking like Knicks right now if it were to start today. But obviously with a player like Giannis, I can never count him out. I can never
Of
count the
course not.
Bucks
Of
out
course,
just because he's able to do
no.
crazy numbers like he did the other night. And it just kind of goes to show, yes, it's a star driven league, but you also need the right pieces, and they built the right team around him. Especially with like I said, Dame being out, we kind of these role players are stepping up, and I feel like that was the main thing for us throughout this whole season, is if they were going to be able to, and obviously they're able to keep the boat floating as of right now until whenever Dame comes back, which I don't know if we do know if he's gonna be able to return, but I've been hearing things. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
he might, but it'll be at the end of the playoffs if they
playoffs.
go there.
Right. But
Yeah.
yeah, they've been doing great, bro. They've steady been like 4 through 6, I think. Like they haven't
Yep.
really gotten
Yep.
any higher. Obviously, Cleveland, Boston, and then New York have been the top three pretty much all season. But they've been in the mix, bro. And I feel like one of these, whoever they match up with, depending on how high they get, because it's looking like they could jump the Pistons, depending on how the rest of their games go for the next season. So they would be going against the Pacers, and the Pacers don't really have an answer for Giannis, and I mean not a lot of
I
teams
know.
do. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one because they got a lot of history too. So it's gonna be
Yeah, we talked about that matchup too, man.
hmm
So yeah, it's gonna be solid. I think yeah, anytime Giannis is just a freak. That's why they call him the Greek freak, bro. Not really much to speak on that. Obviously congrats to him. So shout out Giannis. But hey man, we got to the fun part. You ready to do some NBA playoff trivia, man?
yeah, man, let's get it.
Yeah, you excited? Okay, so I
Yeah,
got I got 5 questions for CJ. They're all geared around the playoffs, obviously, because it's right around the corner. We haven't done a ton of these, man.
no, we
I
haven't.
felt like it was not that we've been lacking this year, but we've been coming at you guys with some different things. But this is kind of, a lot of people do this, but it's kind of fun. Gives us a break a little bit. But CJ, you ready for the first question, man?
I'm ready, bro. Let's get it.
All right, so yeah, these are all playoff related. So let's see if your basketball knowledge is tippy top. All right. So
Let's see.
man, so who's the all-time playoff 3 points made leader in NBA history?
Oh, I feel like this is like it should be a layup, but I feel like I might be
Yeah,
overthinking
I'm
it.
trying to give you a layup a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
is
It's
this
like,
Steph?
yes, sir.
Okay, I feel like I was
1-1.
like overthinking
One
it
on
too
one.
much.
No, 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 no. Don't overthink it.
Okay,
One
okay,
on
I
one.
got you.
Because I thought I was going to get you with that one. You know who's second though? This is bonus.
Is it Braun? Ray Allen? No,
No, no, it is Ray. Sorry,
it's
it
Ray.
is Ray.
Okay,
Yeah, and then Clay. Sorry, I think
okay,
Clay's third.
okay.
Clay's up there though.
No, yeah, for sure.
Like Clay's gotten so many threes in the
how
playoffs.
how
So
many threes
interesting
is
one.
that? The Curry's. Do you know if the?
Curry's. I no, I don't have the number.
Oh,
You want to look
okay.
it up?
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Look it up real quick, because that's true. I should have had the number. I did not have it. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I uh, I just know he is the leader.
Uh, for career, he has 618.
Jeez Louise,
That
dude.
is
That's
ridiculous.
gnarly. Yeah, now that I think about that, almost
Yeah.
1,000 threes in just a playoff scenario. So more than half, you know, a thou- yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that's a big number. That was bigger than I thought. I would have guessed like five,
Five. Yeah, that's what
probably
I was
five
thinking.
something.
Oh no, second is Clay.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Clay has
I thought
501. Steph has
501, right?
618.
Yeah, no. So I don't think Clay's gonna ever catch Steph, by the way. But this is one of those ones where it's cool to see those two dudes because obviously there's a reason why they were there.
You're right.
Like we all know what
Yeah.
was going on back
Splash
then,
Brothers.
and right now for Curry, right, he continues to do it. So he could have 12 threes in a playoff game this year, no
Mm-hmm.
doubt. So good for him. But this next one, man, this one's more spicy for sure.
Okay.
Which number 8 seed famously upset the number 1 seeded Dallas Mavericks in the 2007 playoffs?
Golden State Warriors. We believe.
Okay, yeah, you got that one quick. All right, shit. All right, you too, bro. Like you moving through this kind of low key. All right, this one, we're gonna see if you know.
Okay.
All right. So which player, the only player in NBA history to win a Finals MVP for both conferences? Do you know the player?
LeBron? No.
It's not. I don't know. This one's spicy for sure.
Okay, hold up. I'm thinking.
Hmm.
I. Mm. Oh, that's a good question, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Gotta get the mic a little closer. Gotta lean back and think about
Mm,
this.
yeah, because this is one of the you're gonna scan your brain.
Yeah, got to. Obviously thinking so we're not keeping any like dead space. Thinking of
Right.
players that have obviously
And
won,
like you're saying, it's like players that have been traded or like
traded,
yeah, it's
went
like
to
moved.
yeah. Oh, it's not Shaq, is it? Because D Wade won
Good
that
guess.
final. Yeah.
Yeah, good guess. Good guess.
Can I get any hints or not?
Yeah.
Okay. What? I
It's a
won't.
good one. I'm trying to think of. Yeah, I'm gonna give you one. Uh,
Is this like a player I should like? Yeah.
yes, you
Okay.
do know him. He's a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
Um, from let me give you a good hint. I won't give it away
Yeah,
though.
yeah. I was about to say I don't want to like get a hit that's
So let
like.
me.
No,
Yeah, that's like too easy. He's he. No, that's too easy. He's he is or he was in the beginning
was.
of the series coming off the bench in the first
Oh,
when he won the finals.
wow.
and there's this video, and somebody's like, whenever he sees him checking, he's like, oh,
Oh, Kawhi.
none of your, yeah, no one gave
Kawhi.
away.
Yeah, no,
That's
no,
what my
no,
fault.
no. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Oh,
Wow.
so he wasn't starting, and then he ended up starting later in the series, but
Wow. Did
obviously,
Braun not do that too
he,
though? Who won Finals MVP when
but
y'all?
when did he win in? Uh, 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 no, Braun did that too, huh?
I'm pretty
Wait,
sure. Unless AD didn't win Finals MVP, right?
no, Braun did that. Unless I think it's LeBron and Kawhi,
Kawhi.
unless we're like tweaking.
It had to
Because
be.
LeBron should have won in 2020. That
Right.
would make
Right.
sense.
That's why I was like,
Because anyone, obviously, with the Heat
yeah.
and the Cavs,
Right.
like that makes sense. Let me see. Because he had to have won, bro. There's literally no way.
Right. That's why I was like, hold on, wait.
No, yeah, he won. He won,
Okay.
bro. He,
Okay.
he
Okay.
won. Solid.
Got you.
Solid. Okay, so there's two. Yeah, there's two.
I like that one. That
I
was a
would
that
like
was a
that.
that was a good hint.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, for sure. It's funny too because those are the only two players that have done that.
Yeah. Yeah. The
So I
only
guess
other,
Kawhi and LeBron.
I would say the only other one, like I said, that came to mind was Shaq, but D Wade won that Finals MVP. So
Mhm. And no, like I'm trying to think. Like you're saying, there's not really a lot of big names don't get traded. So
nah.
that the Kawhi Leonard one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. And then obviously Braun with the bubble,
Right.
and
Gotcha.
he's
Gotcha.
gotten. How many does he have? Three?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right,
Maybe
but
maybe
going to
four.
this next one. Yeah, maybe four. Maybe four. Um, this one's kind of crazy. Which NBA franchise has the most playoff appearances in NBA history?
Ooh. Is it the Lakers?
It is, bro. So you're really like I'm gonna give you Kawhi probably too. You're 4-4 so far, bro. Like that's
Yeah.
pretty
Let's go.
solid.
Let's
Pretty solid.
go.
I thought you were gonna say the Celtics. That's probably
Thought
what,
about it.
like if
I
I
thought
didn't.
about.
Yeah, I know you probably thought about it. But that was good for sure.
I knew
Wasn't a trick question.
it was either one of those two. That's why I was like, oh fuck, I don't want to overthink it.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So this one's open ended.
Okay.
So in the 1994 playoffs, okay, this is 1994. So this is the only one that's not. It's modern era, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not from recently.
Okay.
Okay. The Denver Nuggets became the first number 8 seed to defeat the number 1 seed. Do you know how many games it took them to defeat the Denver Nuggets? Or sorry, the Seattle Supersonics. Do you know how many games it took them to defeat the Seattle Supersonics?
Oh, I'm pretty sure this was when the first round was best of three. Uh, was it?
No hint. I don't know.
I don't know. I know because I know that the playoff series were they were
Different.
shorter. Yeah, I just don't remember what exactly. I'm pretty sure it was 3-3. Oh
So
fuck,
the
or was it
first,
five?
so you're right. You're yes. So you're right. I was gonna say you just had the number wrong. It used to be 5. I think
Five.
this is the year they changed it though. Actually,
Oh, okay.
94, 95.
Okay, interesting. I didn't know that. That's
Yep.
trivia for me. They beat them in, was it 5?
Bro, how did you get that shit, bro? Like I would have. It is 5
Okay.
games.
I remember that low key cuz I
They
remember
they they remember
Dikembe
they pissed
Mutombo
them.
like
Yeah,
crying.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They were like killing them.
Yeah.
The reason this is significant is because it was the first ever
Yeah, first
8-1 upset.
and then
And
obviously like
and
the one that the we believe.
yeah, that we believe, and then yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a big deal for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, you got that, bro. 5 of 5. Good job.
Let's go.
You're an NBA trivia playoff champion, man.
I know
Like you need
ball,
to
man. I know
you
ball.
know ball. You need a cup. You need a little trophy. You need a crown. You need it all.
Yeah.
Little cap gown,
Right.
everything.
Hell yeah, bro.
Shout out CJ, man. You able to
Appreciate
come
it.
through for you guys, man. Even on the Kawhi answer, plus a bonus, LeBron. Like it's a great one. That's one that kind of skipped over my head as well. Totally won in 2020, and
Right.
we count that here. I count that as a banner. Some people
100%.
don't, but I
I
do.
do. I do.
100%.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah,
I like
you got anything else, bro? That was a banger for sure. That one was fire.
nah, bro. Just looking forward to these Final Four games. I think one is playing right now. The other one should be
Oh, you're
later tonight.
right. I forgot to bring that up. Thank you.
Uh,
Who you
but
got, bro? Who you got? Duke, Houston, go.
Duke.
Wow. I'm gonna take Houston on the spread. It's at 8.5. Take them at plus 8.5. I think this game is gonna be close.
It's
I,
gonna be
I,
a
I
close
agree. I
game.
think it'll be closer
It,
to
it
9 points.
that pains me to say. I'm a Carolina fan for everyone that doesn't know, but the way that they've been
Interesting.
playing, bro, they look like. I mean, obviously, no disrespect to Houston. Obviously, number one seed. They're there for a reason. Kelvin Sampson, one of the best college coaches that I've ever seen in the recent
Yeah.
memory. Just the way that they play too, like very old school. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you saw the clip. Like they're like diving for balls and stuff like those
Yeah.
type. Like you don't see that a
Tradition.
lot.
They
Yeah.
rough riders, man. They play defense. They do it
Mm-hmm.
all. I love that.
Yeah.
Florida Auburn. Who you got?
Ooh, I'm going with
This one's
Auburn.
tough.
I'm going with Auburn, bro.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
I'm
All
going with
right.
Auburn. I'm going with
All right. For sure.
yeah, Broom, man. They're looking good out there, man. He's one of the. I mean, I think he's probably going to be second for the National Player of the Year more than likely. I think Cooper Flag's going to
Yeah.
get it. But the way he's been playing, the way that they've all been playing, Pettiford, he's cold. He lefty, a little freshman coming off the bench, and I know people give them shit because they're one of the oldest teams, and I think they are the oldest team in college, but. Uh,
Uh,
I just think their experience, bro. I mean, obviously Florida is great too. Just think it's gonna be a tough game. I don't know what. Do you know what the spread is for that?
no, but we can go look.
Yeah, I
I
would
can get
say.
it like right now.
Yeah, just
Um,
look that up.
man, spread. Oh, man. The spread was because they're playing right
Oh,
now.
they are playing right now. Yeah, yeah.
The spread was. Well, I guess this is live, so never mind. I don't know.
Yeah, let me look it up.
Yeah,
Spread.
let's see. But I have a trivia question for you. One more. It's college though.
Florida was favored by 2.5.
It's college.
Let's hear it.
Do you remember the last freshman to win National Player of the Year in college basketball?
Last freshman.
hmm
Ooh,
This
was
one's tough, obviously, but
that's a good question, bro. Was it Zion? No.
dude, this kid's 6 for 6. We're hanging this up. I will see you later, CJ. You have a good day, sir.
I'll see you, bro. Yeah, if y'all liked and
Yeah,
enjoyed this
that's how
episode
I'm
of
feeling
the
right now. I'm like, shit, bro. Like, I might as well just get off, bro. This kid's the computer, man. Like, shit.
man.
But yeah, it was Zion Williamson, right on the money. Another Duke person. So there you
Dookie,
go.
bro, of
Yeah.
course.
I'm so shocked you got that. Like, you finagled your way through my mind games. Like, I was like, this is like a trick question, but not. Like,
Right,
went to the same school.
right.
Like, I'm like, but you got that. Like, you sifted through that. I'm like, damn, man.
Appreciate it,
Trying to
bro.
stump you.
Hey,
Yeah,
man,
for
come
sure.
on,
That's awesome.
man. It's
Know
why we
your
do
hoops,
this.
bro.
It's why we do this podcast, man. I know
100%.
ball.
And Zion's like we've talked about him at length on this pod. When he's on the court, he's still
Oh,
like he was in college, bro. And I'm sure Cooper Flag will be similar as well.
mm-hmm. Yeah, bro.
So
But yeah, no, that just watch Final Four, watch these last games because like we were saying, bro, they matter, especially in the Western Conference. Figuring out who OKC is gonna play, figuring out where the Lakers are gonna land, what seed and stuff. It's great,
yeah,
man.
for sure.
Best time of year, like I've been saying for the past really month, March. Yeah, man. I'll have anything else to say, bro. Was there anything you want to let the audience know before we head out of here?
No, man, just Go Lake Show. We gonna take this W tomorrow, so ain't no complaints. We appreciate you guys, for sticking all the way through, man. We had some trivia today, so that was fun. But yeah, this Western Conference playoff little seed race is gonna be a battle, man. I don't really know who's gonna be where, but we'll figure this out in about like 9 days or so.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. If y'all liked and enjoyed this episode 3 Man Weave, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time, man. Peace. 3 Man,
Peace,
3 Man,
peace,
3
peace,
Man.
guys.